Three, two, one. All right. Hello. Could you please state your name?
Hello, I'm Olivia.
Hello. Um, Now, would you consider yourself a consumer of media?
Yes.
Yes. What type of media, if you don't mind me asking?
Typically, I spend most of my time on Instagram. I barely use Twitter. I don't think I open it multiple times a year. And my mother likes to use Facebook, so occasionally I will go onto Facebook.
Have you been watching television shows?
Actually, no, I'm not really much of a television person. Now that nothing is really cable and everything is streaming, I still find myself not logging into Netflix.
Not logging into Netflix. Would you say you use YouTube a
I
frequent amount?
maybe not frequently. I'd say maybe a handful of times each month.
Are you a TikTok person at all?
No, I try to stay away from TikTok.
That's fair. That's fair. Um, just another quick side thing. Do you content create at all?
Technically, yes.
Hmm.
It is on my own private Instagram account. I like to post what I make on my stories.
Okay. All right. Now, with the first question here, one of our first big questions, with the evolution of media consumption, audiences have become more and more active in their participation. In what ways have you become more active as a member of media consumption?
So, since the introduction of Reels or any type of short video engagement, whether it's on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, I find myself staying on the app a lot longer than what I would have just looking at a standard post.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like those certain genres of reels have kind of roped me in, and due to the algorithm being what you like, I'm going to be on there more often.
Mm-hmm. Do you find yourself commenting on uh do you find yourself commenting more on posts or on videos or on reels or on things like that?
Yes, I think the main comments that I've put out have been on reels. There has been a select few posts, but it's mainly been on reels.
Hmm. Okay. Would you say that social media has impacted how you consume media?
Um, I want to say kind of yes and no. I've kind of consumed consistently
Mm-hmm.
since I had gotten an Instagram account when I was younger. Um, just constantly looking through kind of generally the same thing
Mm-hmm.
each day has been pretty consistent. I don't think it's been too altered.
Okay. Do you have any examples of the things you would look at?
Typically, I'll look at people who garden, cooking videos, lots of different types of content in knitting and crocheting. I've most recently gotten into different music genres, so a lot of new artists or new groups have been on my timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Mainly like in the fine arts,
Hmm.
and there's some comedic value in there, but it's mainly in fine arts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. How has your taste in media changed over the past couple of years, if it has at all?
Um, I do believe that I've always kind of commented on other people's posts, usually in disagreements, but
Hmm.
nothing like aggressive. Um, I do find that I comment more often than
Mm-hmm.
I did previously, but I'd say the amount of media consumed is about the same.
Okay. All right. I see. All right. Now we shall go into a quick word association. So just I'm gonna say a phrase, and you just think of the first thing that pops into your mind, and I'll ask you some questions based on it.
Okay.
All right. So the first phrase is hate watching.
So the first thing that kind of comes to mind is maybe more serious post, maybe based off of war or violence, maybe something more on the graphic side, including a family member or children. It's something that I wouldn't want to see, but I will watch it for educational purposes.
Hate watching, like the proper definition, I'm told, is less of is the purpose is more ingrained into the hate. Like
Okay.
you're watching it to hate it. For example, um, let's say you don't like a TV show, however, you keep watching it over and over and over again.
I see.
Something like that. Have
Uh,
you found yourself doing that ever?
yes, actually. There's a few accounts that have kind of like horror motifs, like they post scary things. And I'm not really one to say that I like scary things because you can say that you enjoy horror, but like to actually be engaged with it, it has to affect you in some way.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say that I hate watching it, but I do it anyway
You watch
because
it.
I want to not like what I see.
Mm-hmm. I see. Okay. All right. Have you thought can you think of any like shows or any like specific accounts or any specific shows that you've seen that you've tuned into multiple times in order to do that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's like one Instagram account, but that's mainly because he's my favorite artist rather
Mm.
than like to watch something that I don't like or hate.
Do you understand the logic or lack thereof of hate watching?
Um, I feel like the premise could be to counter somebody's positive opinion about it. It's like purposefully watching something that you would hate to watch in order to provide more insight as why it is not to your liking to
Mm-hmm.
somebody else who does appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. For the next phrase, we have live streaming. What is the first thing that comes to your mind?
People who vlog like getting out of bed and going to the store and picking up a few things and then going home and then doing their night routine in quotation marks.
That is, in fact, exactly what live streaming is. Now, I'm going to ask you on two fronts. On a creator front, as you are technically a content creator, as you've said yourself,
Yeah.
and then also as the viewer front. Now, as a content creator, would you ever consider ever doing something like this?
Considering my own opinion about it, I wouldn't. I wouldn't like to do it. I feel like engagement-wise, it's pretty high. People do watch those videos, whether they enjoy it or not. That's different. But the view count says a lot about what's being done. But I would feel ridiculous setting my camera up, getting into my bed, pretending I'm sleeping, waking up in quotation marks, and then walking out of my bed as if I'm not being recorded at all, just to move my camera elsewhere to do something similar. It feels ridiculous.
Yes. Yes.
However, public engagement wise, people do watch those videos.
Mm-hmm.
So, on a monetary value thing, if I was making any money off of doing it, sure.
Mm-hmm.
It would just have to be enough for me to look ridiculous.
I see. Now, on a viewer side, what is your opinion on it? Do you like content like that? Would you ever consider? Would you ever see yourself watching stuff like that?
So I have watched some things. It just had come up on my timeline before. I think I don't like the genre in itself only because it's a lot of unnecessary pretending.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do appreciate from it is people's creativity when it gets to the like cinematography of showing the different angles and videos and the transition into going to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like some people are more talented than others. Some people do it purely just because they want to flex their room or their house or their living space, but people who pay attention to the detail of movement and how the angle matters to the viewer, I feel like that's kind of interesting.
Okay. So you see it as more of an opportunity to do something creative rather than just showing the life.
Yes.
Okay. Um, Now, would you consider yourself an activist?
Yes. Maybe not publicly.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to do what I can where I can
Mm-hmm.
on the local perspective, because on the grand scheme of things, nothing is going to be substantially changed. And if it is, it's not going to be sustained. So the
Mm-hmm.
things that I can do for the people that are around me, I do go out of my way to do so.
Okay. All right. How do you feel about hashtag activism?
I feel like it's kind of been, I don't know, or for lack of better words, played out. I feel like it's not as serious topic as it's meant to be.
What do you mean by that?
So, in the point of activism, I think of fighting for something that is in the right? So, something that people have been put up against, or maybe some sort of values, dehumanizing, or anything along the lines of people not receiving the same treatment as other people would be, or just fighting to gain that basic human right that is talked about but is never put into actuality. Um, but when I see it, I put as a hashtag and it's over a video that is just somebody's strong opinion, and they're not actually putting anything towards people who are suffering or anything similar, I just feel like it's being misused more
Mm-hmm.
than anything.
Okay. Do you feel as though real change can be made with hashtag activism?
Not really. You can throw a hashtag on any type of post, and the outreach wise, it just depends on what your audience already is. So that'll go out to whatever kind of audience that you've made on your own platform. So if you've made a bunch of haters on your platform, then the only people that it's going to be reaching out to are the people who don't like your account. So I feel like it kind of is based off of what you create in the first place and how it's distributed out that way.
Mm-hmm. I see. I see. Do you ever participate in hashtag activism?
I would like to say no, mainly because anything on media to me is not really anything that's actually being done. You can sit there and educate people, and there's going to be people in the comments who are negating everything that you say. But I feel like real activism is literally doing somebody good, or something for somebody,
Mm-hmm.
or a group of people.
Do you feel as though the hashtag activists are generally doing it with good intentions, or do you feel as though there's a lot of, instead of activists, it's more like slackivists?
Yeah, I agree with that last term of slackivism or
Mm.
slacktivism.
Yes.
Yes, um, it's kind of a lazy way to, for lack of better words, get clout. It's kind of easy way out of building your platform. Maybe not to people who you would like to appreciate your content creation, more just to see, and the numbers mean more to them than any actual work.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of reminds me of something, but it's slipping my mind at the moment, so maybe it'll come back to me a little later.
Mm-hmm. All right. In that case, do you feel as though for at least those content creators, the number is more important than the individual?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do you think that's the same for most content creators?
Yes. Um, I remembered what I was going to say. It's kind of like people who have like millions of followers, thousands of followers, and they're doing one specific maybe type of service, or they do a lot of side hustles, or like they promote like, hey, here's how you can do X, Y, and Z type of side hustles, whether it's, online marketing or remote jobs, or like some sort of easy task that gets money fast. Those are the type of people who are having their own like seminars or services or Zoom meetings or books or pamphlets that people purchase in order to better promote themselves in their own brand or try and gain some of those side hustles that were talked about. But in the whole scheme of things, the side hustle is people promoting those products to their community or to their followers. That is the side hustle. They're promoting your own self promotion by getting your side hustles and stuff, but their side hustle is your profit that you give to them in order to get side hustle. So I feel like it's kind of backwards. It's like you're giving people false hope because people are going to buy these things because they want to invest in themselves in the long run, but they're really just investing in somebody who's giving them false hope.
False profit.
Yes.
Do you feel as though the people, do you feel as though people with a large reach, like a large following, can use their platform in order to inform, or do you feel as though there's not many who do that?
I do feel like there's not many that do that, or more so that the people that do are not doing it properly. For example, I follow this one person, and he actively talks about how women are treated on the daily basis, like from his friend's perspective, because he's gone out a couple of times or plenty of times with his friends, and certain bad things have happened to just the women of the group and nothing to the men. And he uses his platform to speak out about that because he's not a woman, and he gets more reach that way, because in comparison to a woman stating some issues and problems, experiences that she's encountered, versus a man saying it from the other side of something that has been observed and like, this is a problem, let's try and do something about it. I feel like that is really helpful, but I also, on the other side of the scheme, feel like people do that again for that clout thing. It's like, what is your previous content before you speaking out about this hush hush topic? What does that look like? Because like, you can't be like, oh haha, everything's funny comedian page, and then let's get serious for a moment, guys. Let's talk about this. It's like, well, let's look at the rest of your content. It completely negates anything that you're saying right now.
Right. Okay. All right. Switching gears a little bit.
Okay.
Do you play games?
I do. Not often.
Not often.
I have a few mobile games, but I do not play them very often. I don't think it's like a attention issue. I think it's more so that I just don't have much interest to play single player games as much as I did before.
I see. Are you... I'm sure you're aware of the phenomena that has taken the nation called esports. Would you consider esports real sports?
I feel like it depends on what kind of game it is. So, for example, some of the fighter games, like the 2D fighters or like the 3D, like Tekken and stuff like that, I feel like that takes skill, some sort of skill to do certain combos and sustain combos in order to win a game or a round, rather than like Genshin Impact where you just press buttons the whole time. Like, I feel on some levels it is something that takes skill, but in other games that's not the case at all. It's just a cookie clicker.
Gotcha. One last major topic, and then I can go off of this.
Okay.
How do you feel about YouTube removing the ability to see dislikes?
I feel like on the content creator side of that, it might make for more of a prolonged experience on YouTube. I feel like not seeing so much of the hate and dislike would increase the chances of you staying on the platform to begin with to continue to make content. But as for the viewer side of things, I would like to say that it maybe might not make too much of a difference because there is still a comment section. However, I feel like it helped me gauge whether something was more credible than that. Because primarily I used YouTube for like information, like informational videos, like crash courses and stuff like that. So like I did look at the dislike count on some of those videos and like went to try and figure out why some people dislike those things. But me not being able to see it anymore is kind of like, oh, well, how do I see who doesn't like it?
You would have to like actually look into the comments of the video, which would mean opening the video,
Right.
boosting it up, regardless of whether or not you actively don't like it or not.
Right.
But the thing is, I've noticed this with my own channel as well as WODU's. The dislikes are able to be seen by the content creator.
Oh, that's interesting. I feel like that kind of defeats the purpose of removing the likes for it. Or the dislike, sorry.
It's really weird because as the content creator, you can see it in order to gauge how much traction the video is getting, as well as like the amount of heat you're still getting, but you're oddly not able to see it as the viewer. Do you believe that social media platforms such as Instagram, etc., should have a dislike function?
I wouldn't say that it should. If it has never had it in the first place, I don't see a point of adding it. But as for YouTube, where it did have a counter in the first place, I don't see why you should remove it if it can be seen by the content creator. But Instagram has something similar where you can take off the like counter off of your posts, where you can just see like the few people who have liked it, but it doesn't give you an actual number unless you are the user itself. I feel like that might help a content creator in not worrying so much about the numbers, but the actual quality of the post itself.
Okay. Thank you very much, Liv.
You're welcome.
You are very much appreciated.
Thanks.